Upon seeing Mona Lisa for the first time, it is often disappointing. It somehow does not have the wow factor that is expected of a painting that's so well known. But then over the years, why have people been so interested in it? Why is the strokes used in it so discussed? Why are the dimensions of it so discussed? The clothes that Mona Lisa is wearing. It would seem almost as though the painting is deceptively simple, but the more you look at it, the more secrets it unfolds. And it is this theme of simplicity or surface level simplicity that is also seen in today's poet's work, Mir Taqi Mir.
कोई सादा ही उसको मीर को सादा कहे, हमें तो लगे है वो अय्यार सा, हमें तो लगता है बड़ा चालाक और बड़ा बदमाश है।
Mir's father was Ali Muttaqi, a dervish who spent a lot of his time working hard with moist eyes and in remembrance of God, and someone known for his humility and who spent his time also seeking inner knowledge. Mir remembers his father fondly and with reverence in his autobiography Zikr-e-Mir. While Mir was from Agra, he soon moved to Delhi, and his first trip to Delhi was quite successful because he was able to secure a stipend with a Nawab who admired his father. But this soon came to an end with the invasion of Nadir Shah that displaced several Nawabs and took away their titles. It was sometime around this chaotic period that Mir moved in with Khane Arzu, a well-known, a well-established Delhi scholar. Khane Arzu was Mir's stepbrother, Hafiz Muhammad's maternal uncle. The stepbrother, however, did not like Mir a lot. So when Hafiz Muhammad sent a letter to Khane Arzu telling him about Mir, Khane Arzu's treatment towards Mir changed drastically, and he writes about this in his autobiography. After a period of time, Mir moved away and started living alone. But since his childhood, Mir had the habit of looking at the moon every night. And during this time, he slowly started seeing a face in the moon. Someone who looked like a fairy, a beauty, and he grew obsessed with this woman. Slowly, Mir's friends were fearing him. They didn't want to go around him because they found it unsafe, and even contemplated tying him up. Eventually, the wife of one of Mir's father's disciples took pity on him and decided to help him. Slowly, through treatment, Mir's sanity came back and he could return to writing. While Mir was in Delhi, Delhi was going through a drastic socio-political change. Between 1719 and 1760, 4 Mughal emperors had changed. They had either been overthrown or killed. Nadir Shah had invaded Delhi, and then this was followed by Ahmad Shah Abdali's attacks. And Abdali attacked 8 times, so every time he invaded, each invasion left back a tale of desolation and devastation. Mir writes extensively about these events, about the characters involved in them in his autobiography. Finally, now Mir moved from Delhi to Lucknow in 1782. While we do not know a lot about what happened in Lucknow from 1782 to 1810 when Mir died in Lucknow, but we know a little through different Tazkiras writing about episodes with Mir. One such instance is written about in Abe Hayat, where Azad writes about Mir's journey from Delhi to Lucknow. Mir did not have enough money to pay for the fare, so he decided that he was going to share the ride. Once the passengers showed up, somewhere he decided that he wanted to strike a conversation with Mir. So the first time Mir just ignored what he said, turned away and sat in silence. But the second time when the co-passenger again tried to communicate with him, make some conversation, Mir looked at him and said, "I understand that you paid for the fare, but that did not include a conversation with me." The co-passenger, of course, is baffled and he says, "Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice to converse while we're on this journey?" And Mir says, "No, you would corrupt my language." But speaking of language, Mir was someone who saw the end of the oral tradition. So by the end of his lifetime, the printing press was coming in. While Mir was writing, he was aware of the fact that what he was writing was not going to be read off of a page, but was going to be orally distributed. So this emphasized the fluency and the rhythm in his poems that are easy to remember. Also the movement. I already mentioned that he moved from Agra to Delhi and then to Lucknow. And Mir carried the influences of the different places that he lived in or traveled from. While he was in Agra, he picked up Brij Bhashas. When he moved to Delhi, he picked up the Khadi Boli and the Persian influence from the Mughal court. And finally, when he was in Lucknow, he adopted the Awadhi. So while other writers were particular about the Arabic or Persian construct of their writing, Mir was using Urdu, a language that was still raw, a language that is still a work in progress, and trying to creatively make his way through it while also borrowing from these dialects. And I think there's some craft to taking a conversational language and making it poetic. And this brings me back to Mona Lisa and the idea of simplicity in art, the idea of it being deceptive. While Mir was adopting these different dialects, it wasn't that his writing was based off of his vast vocabulary. In fact, it is the simplicity in his writing, the surface level familiarity with the language just hooks you onto it, and then the more you turn those words in your head and sort of think them over, use them in conversations, the more layer by layer new meanings speak through. It is interesting then to see the same language, the same conversational words become unfamiliar and used in different ways. While Mona Lisa just seems like the portrait of a woman, there's so much more to it, and the legwork we do to get to the meaning makes it almost feel as though it's our shape, almost as though we own the meaning to it because we've gotten there. While Mir was taking from a regular language, a common man's language, it is the madness, the authenticity at the heart of his writing. The simplicity of the package gets us so attached to it. The fact that there are several secrets under it. So I suppose while Mona Lisa just seems to be the portrait of a woman, much like any other portrait of a woman, what makes it a masterpiece is the details that makes it go beyond the craft used in it. And the same is the case with Mir Taqi Mir.
ये शेर सुनिएगा। शेख जो है मस्जिद में नंगा, शेख जो है मस्जिद में नंगा, रात को था मैं खाने में, जुब्बा, खरका, कुर्ता, टोपी, मस्ती में इनाम किया। गालिब ने इस गजल पर गजल दी।
उल्टी हो गए सब तदबीर, उल्टी हो गए सब तदबीर, कुछ ना दवा ने काम किया, देखा इस बीमारी दिल ने, देखा इस बीमारी दिल ने, आखिर काम तमाम किया, उल्टी हो गए सब तदबीर, अहद जवानी रो रो काटा, अहद जवानी रो रो काटा, पीरी मेली आँखें मूंद, यानी रात बहुत थे जागे, यानी रात बहुत थे जागे, सुबह हुई आराम किया, उल्टी हो गई सब तदबीर, यहाँ के सफेदों सियाह में हमको दखल जो है सो इतना है, यहाँ के सफेदों सियाह में हमको दखल जो है सो इतना है, रात को रो रो सुबह किया, रात को रो रो सुबह किया, दिन को जो तू शाम किया, उल्टी हो गई सब तदबीर मीर के दीनों मजहब को अब पूछते क्या हो उनने तो मीर के दीनों मजहब को अब पूछते क्या हो उनने तो कशका खींचा दैर में बैठा कशका खींचा दैर में बैठा कब का तर्क इस्लाम किया उल्टी हो गई So this was the third installment of a series in which I discuss each week a new ghazal, the context in which it was written, and the poet it was written by. Again, I'm extremely grateful for the feedback and the comments in the comment section so far, and look forward to more of them and to reflect them in my videos going ahead.